listening to the Pohu Experience.
Yo, it's been a week now since coming back from Korea, Seoul, and I gotta say, this time after the vacation, I'm kind of struggling with getting back on track. And the struggle of getting back on track is really just my life as a whole, not just diet. Actually, if anything, diet, I'm 100% on point, but I'm not on point with getting my work stuff done or getting my workouts in. Like those, I've been really dragging my feet. None of them have been zero. I've done at least 50%, but it just feels like, the urge to procrastinate is so strong. And I think there's a couple of reasons for it. Like, of course, number one, coming back from a holiday, you go from completely free mode to coming back to responsibilities again. And then also right before we went on the holidays, I was playing a lot of Diablo 4 and I was having a lot of fun with Diablo 4, but then it was the beta. It was only available for those 2 weekends and I'm finding myself missing the game so much. The game really was a release for me. It was just so relaxing, something to mindlessly grind, but also have some kind of progress involved. And I found myself after the holidays, I was trying to look for something to give me that kind of relaxation and I couldn't find anything. There are no games currently that I'm so hot into. Like I didn't even play any Apex. I just feel like I'm at a limbo. I'm at a limbo on how do I cure this need or want to mindlessly do something I really want to do, if that makes sense at all. But yes, totally struggling. I mean, even this podcast, I was looking at my calendar on days that would be suitable to record because remember, these podcasts I realized are taking me like 2 hours of recording. It gets cut down to like 40 minutes, but so far all the previous episodes have been at least like an hour 45 or 2 hours of raw footage. And so usually I plan that in when the house is most quiet, when there's no like construction, when the kiddos are at school, when I don't have any work commitments. And I wasn't going to record today this moment, but I looked at my calendar. If I didn't record today, the next available day is like 3 days later. And I knew if I really just pushed myself a little bit, I could record it now, but it's just that urge to procrastinate, that urge that we could do it later. It's okay, but I really don't want to give into it. So, here I am trying to be a responsible adult and do the things that I gotta do, even though I don't feel like it, but know that all this is feeding into my long-term goals. And so here I am. And the first thing I really wanted to share is my meal prep for this past week. Because remember in the last episode, I was saying that, I started to do a little meal prep. I started to cook all my foods at home. There's no more Subway. There's no more outside food. After the holidays in Korea, eating outside food for 7 days in a row for every single meal, I honestly just kind of missed my usual routine. I actually missed the chicken breast, the salmon, the sweet potatoes, the pumpkins, just stuff that wasn't overly flavored and coincides with my goals. Because remember, my whole time in Korea, I did not hit a day of protein. I'm 100% sure I didn't hit a day of protein, and I'm pretty sure I didn't even hit 50%. I didn't eat that much protein. There was a lot of meat involved, but definitely not enough to hit my goals. And coming back, I was just craving that. I guess I was just craving hitting calories, hitting macros, knowing that I'm eating nutritious foods for my well-being and health. I crave being on track again, diet-wise. Apparently, workout-wise, I still don't feel that way. I still feel like procrastinating as much as possible, or maybe even skipping it. So I've only been doing probably around 25% of what I've really programmed in, but I'm being kind to myself, letting myself ease in. As long as it's not zero, I'll close one eye and keep going. And so coming back, meal prep has been, I can't say 100% home cooked. It's 95 because the proteins that I have at lunch, I've cooked for the first couple of days, but then I keep forgetting to buy fresh protein to cook. And I end up buying the chicken breast from 7-Eleven, which is processed. They say it's sous vide and the texture is kind of good. It's not dry at all. And after having used it once for emergency, I've been eating that for the past 2-3 days because it's just a lot more convenient. But let me give you a little breakdown of how my meals look like for these past 7 days. So in the morning, I will have a protein shake. If I don't have the protein shake, it gets kind of hard to hit my protein goals. And my protein goals is roughly anywhere from 140 to 160 grams of protein per day. And breakfast is also just that because usually I'm just not hungry in the morning. Then comes lunch. Lunch is where these days I'm just doing a lot of chestnut pumpkin baking. And chestnut pumpkin simply because I've been craving to feel full as well. And I also think this comes from the holiday because we ate so many things in Korea, but I don't think there was a single meal that I was like full. Like, it was all satisfying. It was all good, but I just never really felt ultra full. And I miss feeling ultra full. And eating a lot of pumpkins helps me feel ultra full while not exceeding my calories. calories. So it's been chestnut pumpkins these past 7 days. And because chestnut pumpkins are so rich in flavor, the first couple of days I just ate it as it is, because when you bake it and it caramelizes a little, there's that nice crunch. It's really, really flavorful. But after a while, I wanted a little bit more, so I've been adding some sriracha chili or some mustard, and it really just feels almost like potato wedges. It's really, really nice, really fulfilling, and just goes really well with my goals right now. Lunch will also be the time that I try to hit my veggies for the day. I still have a lot of the Shin Ramen seasonings, so I've been using that as a soup base and just cook veggies in it because it's just so simple. It's basically boiled veggies, but in Shin Ramen seasoning, which is so flavorful, so easy to do. You can do it fresh every time. First 3 days, I was eating pea sprouts, and I was eating roughly like 150 grams of them. Over time, I realized I think that's just too many. It's like I'm getting stomach aches in the middle of the day. I'm going to number 2 way more than usual. And after some experimenting, I realized it is the pea sprouts. And for whatever reason, pea sprouts makes me want to go more than other veggies. Because if I eat 150 grams of spinach, no problem at all. I eat 150 grams of sweet potato leaves, not a problem at all. Or broccoli, not a problem at all. It's just the pea sprouts. So the way I'm preparing my veggies is still the same, Shin Ramen seasoning, boiled, but no more pea sprouts. Yesterday I had the broccoli, and today I'm going to have spinach, and usually that just covers my veggies for the day. So I have the pumpkins, I have the veggies, then I need a protein, and the protein has been the sous vide chicken breast. And all of this is really just a lot of food, and it's roughly around anywhere from 450 to 550 calories. It's so fulfilling. You got like the abundance of pumpkin, you got chicken breast, and then the veggies, and then on top of the veggies, I get to enjoy a nice bowl of soup. So everything just goes really well. I've been really enjoying this, and this easily has been keeping me full for 6 to 7 hours. Now, usually I don't wait 6 to 7 hours because I don't want to eat too close to my sleep. Because remember, I have a drinking habit now ever since COVID, and I usually drink a little bit before I sleep, a couple of shots of vodka. And usually when I'm drinking the vodka, I don't want to feel full at all. Feeling full and drinking alcohol just doesn't mix. It makes me kind of, the stomach is uneasy. I like to drink more on an empty stomach. So sometimes I'll eat a bit earlier just because I want to drink a bit at night comfortably. And so even though lunch could last me 6 to 7 hours, the last I tried, I'll have dinner at around 5 to 6 hours after lunch. Now for dinner. Now there's a surprising part here for dinner, and it's something that happened before the Korea holiday that stuck in my mind, and I thought this was the time to give this a try. Don't be shocked when you hear this, because I know all these years I've been raving about white rice, and I've been putting down brown rice like it's the enemy. But hear me out here. I've been eating brown rice for the past 7 days. Now, there's a very good explanation for this. I promise you, I am not cheating on white rice. White rice is still superior in every shape or form, but I'm trying brown rice because I forgot when, but before the Korea holidays, there was a time where I ordered takeout because I was playing Diablo 4, and I just ordered kind of like drunken chicken with white rice. And it's a stall I really like because they sell drunken chicken on every part of the chicken. So you could have like drunken chicken breast, you could have drunken chicken wings, you could have drunken, chicken thighs, and they debone it, which is just so convenient, so nice. And I'm playing Diablo. I don't really want to be taking bones out of my mouth. I just want to scoop and eat. And usually with this stall, I'll eat the chicken with white rice. But on that day, when I ordered the white rice on Uber, suddenly I get a call from the stall and they said, we're out of white rice. We have brown rice. Would you mind that instead? And I'm playing Diablo. I was like, whatever. Brown rice, not my favorite, but you don't got white. I don't want to spend the time to find another stall to give me chicken and rice. Oh, and they also have veggies. They literally have broccoli, which they just put in like salt and some sesame oil. It's really, really good. It's just so convenient. So, they called, told me that they have no white rice. And I said, yeah, that's fine. I'll take the brown rice. No big deal. And so food came, I started eating. And I guess it's been a really, really long time since I had brown rice, because ever since I figured out that brown rice wasn't that significantly better than white rice, didn't help me lose weight much. Yeah, it has some nutritional benefits than white rice, but it's not crazy out of the world nutrition that you couldn't get by eating other foods. And since I include so much whole foods in my diet already, I'm most of the time not missing out at all. So I think it's maybe since I started my weight loss journey, like 2015 to now, my only vivid memory of having brown rice was that day with the drunken chicken about 2-3 weeks ago. Because prior to that, my memory of brown rice is just not as good as white. Like no matter how you cook it, no matter how people prepare it, and I ate it a lot, when I was morbidly obese, thinking that it was the solution to lose weight. And all that time, I didn't enjoy my food at all. I just really didn't like it. And the only reason I ate it was because I thought it would help me lose weight. And so anyway, this time I had it and I was just blown away. The brown rice basically tasted like white rice. It made me do a double take. I had to look down. It's like, wait, you told me you didn't have white rice. How come this tastes almost just as good as white rice? But no, it was 100% brown rice. It's a little bit hard harder. There's a little bit more texture, but it was great. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it the way like I enjoyed my white rice. I wouldn't say it's exactly the same. I'd say if white rice was 100, the brown rice was easily 95. And 95 is something that I'm happily willing to eat for that extra bit of nutrients. Because for me before, brown rice was like 40 and white rice was 100. Like that's how big of a difference it was. So I would never choose brown rice, but now it feels like it's 95. The next day, it was still Diablo weekend. I ordered it again to see if it was a fluke. And this time I ordered the brown rice. I didn't even ask for the white rice. I ordered the brown rice. It came and it was just as good as the day before. So then what popped in my head was, you know what? Maybe I should buy some brown rice and try it out. Like maybe there's something I'm missing out on. And if I'm all about min-maxing, weight loss, health, muscle building according to my goals, if brown rice is this acceptable, I'll happily start including this in my diet. And so that's what I did. I got a 2 kg pack of brown rice from the same brand that I buy my white rice from because I thought that was the safest route rather than going blind and just buying some random brown rice out there. And I gotta say, it's been 7 days. I cook brown rice about every 2 to 3 days because I'll roughly cook 2 cups uncooked, which yields about 3 to 4 meals worth for me. So I've currently cooked it 3 times, all not the same as how I had it with the drunken chicken. But I think I'm getting close. Like first time, I don't think I got the water right, so it was actually really hard. It was the brown rice I remembered in my morbidly obese days, the reason why I said, this ain't good at all. And I guess that's the way most people cooked it because that's exactly how it tastes. But I know why that happened. It's I put too little water when cooking the rice, so never mind. Second time, I added 50% more water. Came out way too soggy and sticky. Not rice I enjoy at all, but I still finished it all. I know this is going to take time. Third time, increased the water by 40%. A little bit better, still too sticky. And I think I'm just going to keep making brown rice until I can figure out the exact ratio of water needed to make it taste basically like white rice. So I guess the lesson learned here is brown rice takes finesse, and whatever the drunken chicken stall is doing, they figured it out. And I could probably go and ask them. Actually, I have their phone number since they called me. I never thought of that. But yeah, I could either beg them to tell me their secret or, keep experimenting myself. And being the introvert I am, I probably will just keep experimenting because I think I'm getting closer. It's only my 3rd try. I'm getting a little bit closer. And hey, I guess it's a win-win because all this time I'm eating brown rice instead of white. That little extra nutrition, I guess that helps. I mean, it's not really helping with calories at all because it's the same portions I'm eating with white rice. But the nutrition, yay. But yeah, a huge sidetrack from what I was about to describe, which is how I'm meal prepping my dinner. So dinner is usually, I'll have the brown rice. I'll bake a salmon. The filet salmon I've been buying comes in like this airtight bag. And on the packet, it says 200 grams. But every time I weigh it, it's anywhere between 180 and 220, which is a big difference because that's a lot of difference in protein and fats. Depending on how big the piece of salmon is, I change the amount of eggs I have in that meal too. So yeah, I have brown rice, baked salmon, and I'll also fry some eggs. Just the normal sunny side up, but depending on the size of the salmon, it'll be anywhere between 2 to 4 eggs. And that will be it. That will be my dinner. And it's really filling because I'm eating like brown rice roughly like 250 to 300 grams. And I do realize that after these 7 days of eating a lot of brown rice to me, it does make me feel fuller. And I know this wasn't the case in my memories of before. Before 2015, when I was still 123 kilos plus, brown rice didn't make me fuller at all. Actually, white rice made me feel fuller and I didn't understand why. But this time, these past 7 days, I could feel myself just feeling extra full for more hours than I would have imagined. Like if I had dinner at 5, I'm still feeling the fullness by 8-9 p.m. And that's usually not the case if I'm having white rice. White rice, about 7-8 p.m., it would have subsided and I would have felt more normal. With brown rice, I'm feeling more normal around 9 to 10 p.m., which for me is great data because that means that, on days that I really want to feel fulfilled or days that I've scheduled my vodka, I could easily plan out what's the most comfortable schedule to get there and to, kind of feel the best. And so that's basically been lunch and dinner for me. It's all home cooked food except for the 7-Eleven chicken breast or the Shin Ramen seasoning pack. And then throughout the day, I'll have fruits as snacks because usually mommy prepares fruits for the kiddos and then she'll leave me a portion as well. She usually just prepares a Tupperware for me and leaves it in the fridge and I'll just go grab that whenever I'm feeling like nibbling on something. Oh, but there is another thing I've been low-key snacking on these past week, and that is gummy bears. We went to Korea and we were in Myeongdong, which is a lot of shopping, a lot of street food. There was so many shops that just sold all kinds of Korean local snacks, and we went to this one place where it had a lot of local Korean gummy bears. And I think as a whole family, we just love gummy bears. We love sour strips, gummy bears, and we saw a lot of brands that we've never seen before, and we just hauled ass and bought whatever felt felt interesting. And, back here, we'll open it up, put it in an airtight Tupperware, and whenever I feel like it, just grab one or two. I think I'm averaging normal gummy bear size. I'm averaging 2 to 3 gummies a day. But yeah, that's basically been my whole meal prep for these past 7 days. And I don't see it to change until the next big shift in our life. And big shift meaning like, maybe we're going on another vacation or our schedule changes somehow because of uncertain events. Whatever it is, if nothing changes, I could see myself just stick to this meal prep schedule because it feels good. I'm really not craving for anything. I'm happy with all the meals. I feel fulfilled with all the meals. It's as maxed out nutrition-wise as it realistically could be. I mean, I'm still not air quotes 100% clean, with the gummy bearish and ramen seasoning, but close enough. One of the things that I really wanted to talk about today is about weighing yourself. Not really about the conversation where, weighing is just one method to track your progress. You don't really have to weigh yourself to know that you're losing weight. Today, I want to talk more about if you're going to weigh yourself, this is how you do it right. Because I think a lot of people kind of want to use the scale weight as a measurement of progress because it is convenient. But then if you do it in a wrong way, it just provides so much stress. Like if you're just measuring your weight on random days and you're stepping on the scale at random times and with different apparel, you're going to weigh very different in your pajamas than in jeans and a t-shirt or in just your underwear. That's 3 different weights. And that's 3 very significant weights if you're on a weight loss journey. That could just really mess with your mind. You might think what the hell? 3 days ago, I was 55 kilos and today I'm 58. What the hell happened? And what could have happened is when you were 55, you weighed yourself almost nude without having breakfast yet. And then now you're weighing yourself after lunch in your jeans. You maybe had something in your pocket that you forgot and it's all adding to the weight. The number that comes out is just really scary. So today what I wanted to go over is if you're going to weigh yourself, do it right. You either do it right or don't. There's no, I don't know, I feel it's too harsh to say there's no in between, but I do feel that if you're unable to deal with the emotions that come with weighing yourself, there is no in between. You either acknowledge that you're not doing it right. If you're not doing it right and you're just doing it for a rough estimate to see where you are currently, or you just don't weigh yourself. You might as well not know the number because if you're not weighing yourself consistently, the number you're getting is not really accurate. It's not really a good representation of how your progress has been. And so here's the most accurate way you could measure your weight. I would suggest every morning, first thing when you wake up, before you take a sip of water, you go to the toilet. You do your number 1 or number 2, whatever you need to do, just kind of clean yourself out. After a long sleep, just go to the toilet. As soon as you're done from the toilet, hop on the scale. You either do that nude or in your underwear. Don't wear anything else. That's just the easiest thing to keep consistent. Underwear weighs the least out of all our clothing. If you have 3 different sets of pajamas, they could all weigh a little bit differently. Then the number you're seeing on a scale will be slightly different as well. I would say if you're hardcore, just go nude. But for me, my scale is my living room and it's just not convenient to go nude every morning. So I usually weigh myself first thing in the morning after the toilet in my boxers. Nothing else, just my boxers. And so first thing in the morning after the toilet, before drinking or eating anything at all. And also because you're doing it first thing in the morning, it's usually the same reset of your day no matter what time you wake up. If you wake up at 6 a.m. and you wake up at 9 a.m., it's still roughly the same circumstance because it's the first thing when you wake up as compared to you woke up for 3 hours and your body systems is running and all that, and then you weigh yourself. Minor changes, but still makes a difference. Number 2 is make sure you're weighing on the same scale. I mean, you could do this experiment yourself. Go buy 5 scales and every morning step on all 5. Guess what? All 5 is going to give you a slightly different number. Sure, it's not a big number difference, anywhere from 0.5 to a kilo difference. If you're hopping on scale A today, hopping on scale B tomorrow, there's a 0.5 change. You start to panic. It's actually nothing to do with your weight actually changing. It just, you used a different scale. Use the same scale as much as you can. And that's why I also really don't recommend using the gym scale unless that's the only one you use. Every time you go to the gym, you're only using that scale and you're doing it at the same time, same apparel and whatever. And even then, it's a less accurate number because unless you're going to the gym exactly the same time in the exact same condition, as in you just had a meal 2 hours ago, because having a meal 2 hours ago and having a meal 1 hour ago and weighing yourself, there's a high chance there's a different number there. And it's just the accuracy goes down. Now, nothing wrong with the accuracy goes down, and you don't need super accurate numbers to be losing weight, right? This whole segment on the most accurate way of weighing yourself, if you're really going to take this seriously, you really want to use the scale to track your weight, this thing will make the scale your friend rather than an enemy. It will tell you objective numbers. It will give you an idea how you're doing on on a week-to-week basis. And based on that, you can adjust your actions. You can adjust, the direction you are going in, clear as day, no more guesswork. It also kills a lot of the emotions. Like the most emotional part about this, I feel, for me, when I was starting to get used to this was there'd be times in the morning I forget and drink a sip of water. Then I'm like, fuck, today's reading is off. So I have to wait until tomorrow to get a reading because that sip of water could easily be 0.1, 0.5, 0.8 kilograms and I wouldn't know. And it makes the number meaningless because all this time I haven't been taking a sip of water before I step on a scale. That was usually the parts that was frustrating to me, or that, I just forgot to weigh myself altogether and I'm missing 1 day worth of data. So remember, all these everyday weighing yourselves is not to judge yourself on your day-to-day weight. It's going to change. It's going to go up and down. What you're trying to do is just to get the most accurate number on each and every one of those days as possible. That's it. That's the goal. That's not the number that represents your actual progress. We want all these day-to-day numbers so we can get an accurate weekly average. When you have an accurate weekly average, you can compare that to other weeks. And I would say you compare to at least 2 to 3 weeks. Let's say, this week's average is 55.2. Next week's average is 55. The week after that's average is 54.9. You know that on average, you're going in the right direction. Even though on the day-to-day basis, you might have seen numbers like 56 or 57, but those numbers don't matter. Those one-offs don't matter. It's the averages that matter. And the way to get accurate averages is to get accurate day-to-day numbers. That's what makes day-to-day numbers important. And I think if you're able to take this scale weight method seriously and keep this up consistently, it's actually kind of hard to get off track, meaning you always have the truth staring back at you. Keep an eye on your weekly averages year after year after year. You know when, your weight average is going a little bit up. You know when you're kind of maintaining weight. You know when you're losing weight. Really struggle with? It's the uncertainty, right? I don't know if this works or not. I don't know if I'm eating enough or too little, even without counting calories. Now, imagine you couple that with calorie counting. Now your calorie counting is more accurate. You know what numbers makes that scale average go up or down. Combine these two, and I think this is why I'm so fascinated with calorie counting. I feel like I'm in control. I feel like where fat loss used to be this completely uncertain thing, now I'm certain. Now I know. I know if I'm eating 2,200 calories and my average is going down, I know that 2,200 is a deficit for me. I could try 2,300 for the next couple of weeks and then see how that goes. And I could really push the limit and then see my averages start to level off, start to stay still, be like, oh, okay, so this is my actual TDEE. That's what all this is so fascinating for me because I've struggled with fat loss my whole life. And all is just like hearing old wives' tales. You're hearing what your mom's friends, sisters, aunts told you that worked, and you try it and it doesn't work and you don't know why and you're kind of blaming yourself for it. Suddenly with calorie counting, with weighing yourself accurately every day, all those problems are solved. Now, again, I'll put a caveat. I know this isn't comfortable for everybody. Like, I like data. I'm a guy that likes data. I like facts because with data and facts, I can plan my next move. What I really don't like is uncertainty. I don't like things that I just have no control over, like our day-to-day, weight fluctuations. There's no control over that. So I'm not going to stress over that, but I know that those day-to-day numbers can get me the weekly averages, and those weekly averages are super, super useful as a data point for me that I'm really into. And, for the longest time, I don't think I've ever said it like this because a lot of times when I'm creating content from IG, I'm being very careful to make content that reaches a mass crowd. But when you create content like that, you're talking very vaguely, not very specifically. But here, what I really love about this podcast is I don't think there's any misconceptions when I'm going this deep into weighing yourself accurately. I know I'm saying something very specific and I don't expect you to do it. If you don't like to weigh yourself, if the scale gives you anxiety, it's not something that you want to keep up with, you don't like that number, that you can't get away from seeing that number go up and down and just ruining your day, don't do it. Absolutely don't do it at all. That's totally fine. But if you're going to do it, here it is. Here is how I feel. You either do it this way or you don't. It's almost that stubborn and strict because I feel if you're not measuring yourself accurately, can the number be helpful? Yes, but it's a double-edged sword, right? On the random day that you're weighing yourself, if it shows you a good number, you're in a good mood. If it shows you a quote bad number, then you're like, oh my God, I'm doing all this wrong. I'm not eating dinner anymore. And it's like, what did that do? That did nothing. Now you're skipping dinner. And now by skipping dinner, you're creating cravings. And then you're just in this cycle of self-sabotage. Like for what? Because you stepped on the scale at a random time time, don't step on a scale on a random time. It's almost like respect the scale. Respect that the scale is not a measurement of your self-worth. The scale is just popping you numbers based on how much you currently weigh, based on all variables. Say variables of whatever you've eaten that day, how many times you've gone to the bathroom that day. It's just telling you, oh, currently this is how you weigh. Then it's up to our own responsibility to be like, okay, every time I step on a scale, it's going to be in a responsible manner. It's going to be in the same manner. So you're feeding me accurate information. And then now I'm going to compile a lot of this information into data that I can make sense of and I can make adjustments for in my actions in the future moving forward. So that is it. Most accurate way of weighing yourself. And if you want to make it easier, I know I've said this in the past, if you're using an iPhone, there's an app called Happy Scale. It's completely free. The great thing about Happy Scale is if you're putting in your weight every day, there's 2 columns, and on one column is your moving average. So you could see how your average is moving on an everyday basis, which can be very helpful because you could be, let's say, 55 kilograms today, and then you're 55.5 tomorrow. But the average on Happy Scale, it tells you that, dude, you're still averaging at, 55.2. Like nothing has changed. Like this sudden spike doesn't change the average throughout the past weeks. And that's just very helpful. And, it's doing all the math for you. So you don't have to keep calculating it yourself. So it's convenient in that way as well. So I would say if you're taking scale weight seriously and you're using an iPhone, an app like Happy Scale will be helpful. Now, downside about Happy Scale is doesn't exist for Android. So if you're on Android, what I've heard is a great replacement is an app called Libra. I've never used it myself, so I can't say anything about it. I can't endorse it. I don't even know if it's free or not. But apparently from the people I've heard, they've been using Libra as an alternative for Happy Scale. Or maybe there's other ones out there now that I'm just not aware of. What I am aware of is apps that help you track weight, that helps you track weekly averages are actually rare. I mean, I haven't used that many apps that are specifically for tracking just your weight, but having used like MyFitnessPal, having used Carbon app, having used the app that comes with my scale, the Renpo, like none of them calculate your averages. To know your averages, I still kind of have to bust out the calculator. But with Happy Scale, it's all done for you right there. You can see what's going on at a glance. One of the discoveries I have made in these past 72 hours that I've been completely obsessed with is actually a K-pop group. And I'll walk you through the whole story. I spend a lot of time on YouTube discovering new music and all that. And it's really just a hobby of mine. I like finding new music. I like finding new tunes. And so I was just flipping around YouTube Shorts, which I feel is the worst possible habit that I got into because I was really, really adamant to not get into TikTok, even as a content creator. I also wanted to know the meta. I also wanted to know what's trending now. So it's something I couldn't skip. I successfully skipped TikTok, but I failed skipping YouTube. And YouTube Shorts it's doing a great job. The algorithm knows what I like to watch. Usually is a lot of cooking or dogs or songs like Jake's Golden Hour. I think I heard it first on YouTube Shorts as well. That's where I discovered it. The past couple of days, I discovered a K-pop group called NewJeans. And my first impression was it was a short. I don't even remember exactly which short. I just remember the song just sounded so refreshing. It sounded nothing like normal K-pop, nothing like a Blackpink, like a Girls' Generation. It just is more of a 90s pop and R&B vibe. And it was just so easy on the ears. It was like immediately I was drawn into it. I was like, what is this? This is, wow, it's been a while since I've heard a song that I immediately enjoy. And it was Oh My God by NewJeans, which I'll list later the songs I like from them. I also like going down rabbit holes of musicians or, people in the music industry, because for me, I really like deep diving into the marketing of brands or musicians, or as myself content creator, as an influencer. Like it's something I realize I don't talk about enough publicly. I talk about it a lot with my friends, a lot, but I haven't really found the wiggle room to talk about it in any of my content. And I guess here is a starting point right here on my podcast where I talk about all kinds of topics without bounds. And so I discovered NewJeans. I loved the song that I heard. I went down the rabbit hole, started to listen to other songs they had, and I gotta admit there are some songs that just didn't really do it for me, which was understandable. I think it's like their newest song is a song about Coke Zero, but it's obvious that they made the song because they're sponsored by them or affiliated by them in some way, so it's more of a marketing campaign. That's totally fine. But then I think they only have 8 songs right now, and for me, 4 of them are complete bangers. I've been putting them on repeat for the past 72 hours. And that's the thing as well, right? Their dance is not the typical K-pop dance. It's not a girl girl group. It's a lot more hip hop and it's a lot more advanced. Like from my understanding, the K-pop formula is the dance isn't too hard so that the fans can follow along and mimic their dance moves. Like that's the whole kind of like marketing campaign, right? You don't want something too hard, too edgy that fans can't join the fun. But then with NewJeans, it feels like, whoa, this is actually just really good dancing. And it's probably not something everyone can do unless you're a dancer, but it looks so good. It fits the music so well. And so I dug in a little bit more. So apparently the person that created it, the producer or the CEO of the group, just decided to go with her own method in bringing up a K-pop group. Like I think the numbers right now is NewJeans numbers is comparable to Blackpink and BTS's when they first debuted in terms of listens and all that. But NewJeans have been doing it in a very unconventional way, as in their first song that came out, they did no promo for it. They didn't even introduce any of the girls. Like you didn't know any of the girls' names, you just knew the song. So that means that they dropped the song. The song had to be good enough for you to get any traction at all. And the person behind NewJeans said she wanted to focus more on the music with this group rather than the typical method of, focusing on the girls, on the image, on the visual. She wanted to focus on the music with NewJeans. And I think you could totally hear it because it's so, the word is refreshing. And that's what caught my attention too. It's like, wait, you're making a K-pop girl group and you're not focusing on the girls at all? That's crazy. That's a crazy risk to be taking, especially of how much money you have to spend on a music video. It's not cheap. Recruiting these girls aren't cheap. This is a big endeavor. You're kind of a rebel to be doing it a different way, but it worked. It completely worked. And the second song that they shortly dropped after the first song, the second song called Hype Boy, had 4 different versions of the music video. So the song is exactly the same. And the music video, the storyline is kind of like a house party. The 5 girls in NewJeans are in it. And in 3 of these videos, it's just putting it in a perspective of each one of those individual girls. I think they had 1 for each member and then 1 video that had 2 members in it, like perspective from 2. They didn't have 5 music videos. They only had 4. But it was just such a unique and creative way to introduce the girls, where usually the members of the group are the highlight, are the first thing that you introduce to get people to form a connection with them. NewJeans really feels like you're more connected to the music and the dance than you are with the members of the group. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but 100% is they have my attention. It feels like they maxed out on music production. They maxed out on dance production. The members of the group are kind of like the replaceable piece of the puzzle, which I guess is how K-pop, the whole industry, is formed. Like if I'm not wrong, just last year, there was like 8 or 16 girl groups that came out. A lot we probably didn't hear of, but they're constantly trying to create this entertainment machine where they have all these trainees going on year after year. They have new groups coming out year after year. And in the end, you're forming this product. You're figuring out what people like. And throughout the talent that you've trained over the years, you're trying to create that perfect product. It's almost like a startup, right? A startup business. You're just trying to be the unicorn. And so they are having a million startups just hoping to find 1 or 2 unicorns like BTS or Blackpink. And I think the next one is going to be NewJeans. I think it feels like it's doing everything right in terms of the new algorithm of the world, because I think the world's algorithm has changed. If you look at how IG, Facebook, and all social media has changed over the years, we're really in a pivotal time where the rules of a lot of industries in the world have changed. I mean, if you look at esports, like how many esports organizations are shutting down now, it's just not viable to keep going. There's just no endless VC money. And then you're starting to see more bank failures and all that. But that's another topic. The whole point is the brains behind NewJeans is so brilliant. They've captured the essence of what matters today, and they're completely reaping the rewards. They're proving that they understand how this industry works now, how to do effective marketing, and it is completely different than how the industry has been doing things for the past couple of years. I mean, it just feels so crazy and refreshing that as a group, NewJeans, the first thing you notice is like the music and the dance, and the next thing is the fashion. The members of the group are put quite far at the end of the line. They're not the priority at all. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just the way their producer seems to be focused on for the group. I mean, they've already done all the business parts, right? Like they're ambassadors for Coca-Cola Zero, also for LG laptops. The members of the group are attached to Gucci, Armani, LV, Burberry, YSL, Chanel, the same route as most K-pop groups, but they've done it in a really quick time, and they've done it by not highlighting each individual group member, but highlighting them as a whole, the music, the dance, the fashion. And I just can't get enough of it. Like, it's literally, I have a playlist of those 4 songs, and you know, if you want to check them out, the 4 songs I'm into is Ditto, Oh My God, Cookie, and Attention. Oh, there's a 5th one, Hype Boy. Those are all bangers. They're all good. You put in a playlist, you could just listen to it all day and do, you know, whatever you're doing. Puts you in like a super positive mood. And I just can't remember the last time I've had music like this. It's such a happy feeling. And I've just been having the time of my life enjoying what it's like to be a fan again. Like, I'm totally huge fan of, I'm probably more of a fan of the creator behind NewJeans than all the individual members itself. It's just really a huge joy to see. Ever since I've been going down the NewJeans rabbit hole, my YouTube has been feeding me all kinds of NewJeans content, which I completely welcome. I love seeing their content strategy as well, right? They'll have one official MV of the song, and then they'll have a performance MV, which is just the dance, but it'll have all the camera works. And then they'll have a performance MV number 2 still camera, which is the dance, but the camera's not moving anymore. It's just a still camera. And for me, looking at it as a standpoint as a content creator, it's like, oh my God, that's so genius. Like, from one MV, you created how many pieces of content, and how many pieces of content, they're all very valuable. Like, as a fan, I want to see all of them. The still camera one is great for learning the dance if you want to learn the dance. The performance MV lets you see the dance itself, but with all the camera works to make it even more exciting and interesting. And then the actual MV, well, it's just the actual MV where you get to play with storyline, you get to play with fashion, and just really sell us a story. It's like, so they have those videos for every song they have. Also, they'll have a video of the members' reactions to the MV, because I think usually how it works is they shoot the MV, but they have no idea how it was all cut up. They're not really part of the editing process. They're just part of the recording process. And then when it's all said and done, they probably see the MV at the same time we see the MV, or just a little bit earlier than that. I'm listening to their songs. I actually do not care about the lyrics. It's like half Korean also, right? I don't understand the lyrics. And also, I have a listening tendency where I don't hear lyrics. I hear the tune more. And if I really want to know lyrics, even for English songs, I have to go look up the lyrics. Like, I'm still deep in the completely fanning out stage because I don't think I've consumed all their content yet. But because they debuted only in August 2022, I think I could catch up quite easily. And it will be just such a treat to see how they progress from here, because they do seem like they're revolutionizing the K-pop industry. They do seem to be the next Blackpink and BTS, and they're doing it in a very different way. They're doing it in a very new era where rules are different, and it's just exciting. It's just really, really exciting. The other day on IG, I got a question and I answered it. It was about, you know, coming to Taiwan, coming to Taipei, what kind of night markets that I recommend and all that. And I remember writing a mini piece on it on the Q&As, but I realized there's a lot I missed out on because there's just not enough space. And then I asked, would you guys want me to go through like a Taipei night market recommendations if you guys come? And, you know, overwhelmingly said yes. I was going to do that this episode, but going to be so real with you, man. Like, I was in the middle of researching that, like making sure I get all the data correctly to make an episode on it. And then I discovered NewJeans. And so I ended up spending time going down their rabbit hole instead, which I was almost worried that I wouldn't have enough content for this episode, but then this episode became about NewJeans. And that's like, I want this podcast to be as real as possible, right? Like, the timing of it is all completely in real time as of recording this. And by the time you hear it, usually from recording, it's 5 to 7 days. So it's very recent. Like, I'm just discovering and feeling all these things that I'm describing. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to put off the Taipei recommended night markets to the next episode. We'll talk more about that. And this week I could just be a fan and tell you guys how much I've enjoyed discovering new music. So I hope you look forward to that next week. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.